law enforcement is getting a lot more serious about e-bikes on the beach in Manhattan Beach and Hermosa Beach. And they've enacted some new laws, and they're also starting to enforce laws a lot more than they used to. It's kind of the Wild West over the last few years when everybody got defunded and people stopped, worrying about traffic tickets. But now the cops are back out there, and a lot of old people are complaining about kids causing trouble. Now, we have a couple of local groups. There's the Goons and there's the RTK, the Redondo Torrance Killers, and a lot of them ride this type of bike. So this is not really an e-bike. This is an electric motorcycle. So a lot of the enforcement is trying to get kids to stop riding these off the street, which are already illegal on the street, versus an e-bike that is a bike with pedals and electric motor. And an off-road only electric motorcycle like this can do up to 55 miles an hour. And they're a ton of fun, but definitely illegal on the street unless you get a license plate and insurance for it. We'll start in Manhattan Beach and go south. So the Strand is that section on the left there, which is a sort of a walk street next to all the big rich people houses. And then down below, there's a bike path. So no bikes or e-bikes are allowed on the Strand. They're only allowed on the bike path in Manhattan Beach. You're also not allowed to ride on the sidewalk. And the speed limit on the Manhattan Beach bike path is 15 miles an hour. So no riding on the sidewalk, no riding in designated pedestrian areas either. And this gives you an idea of what the bike path looks like in Manhattan Beach if you were traveling at a reasonable speed. So those guys in front of me are on road bikes, and they're doing about 18 miles an hour without a motor. And then when you get near the pier, at the base of the Manhattan Beach Pier, they have a sign that says you have to get off and walk your bike. Then as you get down to the Hermosa border, you can see there's a bike path on the left that goes along the streets. And then in Hermosa, it's flipped. So the Strand is where everybody wants to be, down by the beach. So a lot more people will try to ride their bikes on the Strand in Hermosa, which is allowed, but the new law says you have to turn off your motor, and the bike speed limit is 8 miles per hour. So it's kind of hard to ride 8 miles an hour without falling over. But if you exceed 8 miles an hour, then you're a criminal, e-bike or regular bike in this instance. And then when you reach the actual Hermosa Beach Pier, they've got a walk section as well. They've also got a lot of menacing signs about no skateboards, no electric vehicles. But officially, according to the PR statement that they just put out, you can have an e-bike, you just have to have the motor turned off. And then they do also have a walk zone in front of the pier and down at Pier Plaza. So you have to get off your bike and walk when you're down here. And that doesn't stop anybody from riding e-bikes to the beach. You still see a ton of e-bikes around. I haven't seen really anybody getting hauled off and locked up in person. I've seen it on Nextdoor. A lot of kids on those motorcycle style e-bikes are getting their bikes taken away. They will impound your bike if you're under 18, and you got to pay to get it back. But this is Pier Plaza. So here you're allowed to walk your bike and have the motor turned off if you have an e-bike. And Hermosa Beach has a thing called a Greenbelt. This used to be an old trolley track from a long time ago, and they've turned it into a beautiful dog and person walking, jogging track. And if you were a kid who lived in a place that didn't have any off-road riding, you could see how this would be the funnest place to take your illegal off-road motorcycle. But if you go here, you'll get impounded. And even worse than that, the rental companies are now required to have their bikes geofenced. So if you take a rental bike on this path, the motor will turn off. So that's a huge new expense for all the rental companies in Hermosa Beach. And if you get caught breaking those laws, it's $500 for the first offense, $750 for the second, and $1,000 for the third time you do it. But if you're on a rental bike, the price is half that for each of those offenses. And then if we keep on going down to the Redondo Beach Pier, I don't think they've got any rules in place down there. At least I didn't hear about any new ones in the recent articles, but you can see there is a police car on the bike path looking to bust people. So beware out there, kids. And I've also heard from some credible sources that the local law enforcement is thinking about age-limited bans on e-bikes and also perhaps driver's licenses and training. If you're interested in training, one of my friends started a company. I'll put a link in the description with a discount for it, where you can learn both how to ride and how to maintain an e-bike. Where I fall on this side of the issue is I'm an old motorcycle guy. I have a class M1 license. My son rode BMX and downhill mountain bikes and certainly had a super fast e-bike. So I hope the kids can keep riding, but I also want them to be safe. So I can see both sides of this. And then also the kids that are out there beating people up and stealing and destroying things, they need to stop and be stopped.